Well, hello, vinyl community. Fitz here, Fitz Electric Bar. I'm actually entering Christian CGC Vinyl's contest. Congratulations on hitting your 800 subscribers, Christian, and enjoy watching your videos. And this is my entry. So I'll put the link down below to Christian's entry, although the contest, I believe, ends tonight at midnight. But in essence, my understanding is that the contest, we're looking to do 3 sets, 3 genres, and a number of records in those genres. So it's called the 365 contest. One genre or subgenre would be 3 records, another genre 6 records, another genre 5 records for his 1 year in the vinyl community. So first one I'm going to do, because I probably have the least number of these records, used to be number 1 in my collection, but I have purged a lot and mostly don't regret it. But classic rock. So 3 records in the classic rock department. I'm going to start with the recent passing of Gary Rossington from Lynyrd Skynyrd, and this is a really great live record. One More from the Road / One More for the Road. And I still love their music. Tuesday's Gone, I believe it's Gary Rossington's slide guitar on that, and of course he's known for Freebird in particular. But Lynyrd Skynyrd, a band that still, for me, is not one that I've thrown in the trash bin. I still enjoy Lynyrd Skynyrd. Not that I put it on all that often, but there was something about them. And I managed to see Lynyrd Skynyrd open up for the Doobie Brothers. Quite a memorable show, because Lynyrd Skynyrd, I didn't know them at the time, and they were fantastic, and the Doobie Brothers were the biggest yawn fest you could imagine. So number 1, Lynyrd Skynyrd, live album, One More from the Road. R.I.P. Gary Rossington. Probably one of my most played records during my high school days would have been Aerosmith's Toys in the Attic. Of course, contains Sweet Emotion. I like to tie things back often to live shows, and they were a band that I tried to see live in my high school years, and had quite a few thwarted attempts. Lived in Toronto, took a bus down to Buffalo to see them, to see a sign at the front door saying that the show had been canceled. And because I wasn't part of a package tour, I basically just turned around and went back to Toronto on the bus, and didn't see them there. Another time I went to see them in Toronto. They came as part of a big package at CNE Stadium and arranged to meet a whole bunch of friends, and I went to the wrong train station. They had the tickets. We didn't have cell phones in those days, and no Aerosmith. And by the time I had a chance to see them, I didn't really care to see them anymore. But Toys in the Attic, great album. Loved Aerosmith. And kind of the gem in my collection, Led Zeppelin 1. What makes this a gem? Well, this is a Japanese pressing. I was recently reorganizing my albums and getting them back into alphabetical order so I can know where everything is. And my wife's Japanese, and I came across all these Japanese pressings of things like Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Led Zeppelin, a whole bunch of different bands. Anyways, this is Japanese pressing of the first Led Zeppelin record. So you can see they've got both the English lyrics as well as Japanese liner notes that I'm not able to understand. And the vinyl itself also, it's very different looking, I believe, than the one in North America. So you can see some Japanese stuff there. I think they're spelling in katakana, which is the phonetic spelling of English words, upside down. It probably says in my very poor Japan English, below Led Zeppelin there, it probably spells out in katakana, Led Zeppelin. So, first Led Zeppelin record. That's the 3 in the classic rock genre. Next up, 6. So what I chose for 6, I would call this broadly as post-punk. Some of you may have problems with my choices. I have problems with some of my choices. in my life, but also in my categorizing. Again, the high fidelity thing comes back in terms of second guessing everything. But everybody knows Ultravox with Midge Ure as the vocalist, and they're fine, but I missed the first Ultravox record, this one here, just Ultravox exclamation mark, with John Fox as the vocalist. A bit Bowie-esque, a bit David Sylvian in Ghosts era, or I don't know if I'll Ghosts era, but early days of Japan. And this is a awesome record. It's got really just a fantastic sound, really catchy. And I guess I should say, you know, what is post-punk? So post-punk to me is that it's after punk, but I think it's often deemed to be stuff that's really kind of angular, potentially a little bit less melodic. You know, punk often was extremely melodic, even if it was in your face. But again, I'm going to stretch the boundaries of that because I don't know where this would fit in. I don't really consider Ultravox a new wave artist. They're not singer-songwriter. Anyways, post-punk it is. Ultravox, first record. Just some fantastic songs on here. Starts off with Saturday Night in the City of the Dead. Just a rave up. I used to play that before going out with shows and stuff like that. Dangerous Rhythms, Wide Boys. Just a great record. Get a chance to get this. Do it. Howard Devoto and Magazine, Real Life. Howard Devoto got his start with the Buzzcocks, then left the band. I think they put out Spiral Scratch EP, and then for Magazine. Magazine, excellent band. Don't hear much about these guys, and this has got the single Shot by Both Sides, which is really good. Big fan of Magazine. Got to see them once. I think really a band that probably almost defines post-punk would be Gang of Four and their first album, Entertainment. Very angular, abrasive, but also super catchy. We lost Andy Gill, the guitarist, a few years ago. And they were touring up to quite recently, although I think John King wasn't the vocalist for a little while. But Gang of Four, really political, very catchy, very angular. Entertainment, their first record. Interestingly, they re-released this record and remixed it. And I have to say that even though it's sort of sacrilege, it sounded cleaner and better, and I actually like the remix version. This one is actually the original album, the Canadian pressing. When I recently did my tribute to Tom Verlaine, this first solo record of his, still my favorite. Excellent, you know, the guitar work is fantastic. And the songwriting on this as well, Kingdom Come, Souvenir from a Dream, just this great piano, haunting piano thing in the background. Tom Verlaine. Post-punk. There's another one that might be controversial in calling this post-punk, Young Marble Giants, but become something of a like it's become quite popular recently, and really stripped down, bare. It's just got a feel to it, which is really quite unique. You know, doesn't sound like it's something that should work, but somehow it does. I think these guys were from Athens, Georgia, part of that whole wave of music, Young Marble Giants. Yeah, just some super songs on it. Whole thing is great. Just a great feel. And lastly, you can't do post-punk without doing this band. So this is Joy Division's Transmission, Dance, Dance, Dance to the Radio, and 12-inch single. I was collecting I was collecting everything that Joy Division put out, and this particular one, 12-inch single. Of course, the fantastic cover art. You know, along with 4AD, the factory covers were just great. You can't really tell us, I don't think, but there's actually a little bit of an emboss there on the photo, and just visually stunning the way that they would present Joy Division product. And of course, the famous factory label. And so it was Transmission on side A, Side B was Novelty, which was excellent as well. So 6 post-punk albums, or singles in this case, 12-inch single. Just a quick aside, one of my great regrets was I had tickets to see Joy Division play a club in Toronto called The Edge. And I was so excited about it. I was telling people I was working in a factory in a summer job, and I was telling everybody how excited I was. And they announced on the radio that there was a show that had been canceled because the lead singer killed himself. And one of my colleagues said to me, would that have been a show that you were going to? And when I heard that, I kind of almost knew it was Ian Curtis and Joy Division. And of course, that was, I don't know, a week or two before they came on their North American tour, and Toronto was, I think, one of their first few shows. So that was unfortunate to miss that. So 6 post-punk, and finally 5 country. Now, I don't have a ton of country records. My father was really into country. I always say my father, he liked white man's music, which was country and classical music. But he did have an influence on me, and we used to take trips down to Virginia and the Carolinas and Tennessee and Kentucky, and would sometimes go to some honky-tonk bars and listen to music, and that was really cool. It was a nice memory now that my dad's passed. Hank Williams, very best of. Pretty much can't do a country feature without a Hank Williams album. The one that an artist that doesn't get a lot of love but is really cool, it's Kitty Wells. She was really great. This is another compilation. So with country, I would do a lot of compilations and then sometimes dip into albums of the artists. I don't think I have any other Kitty Wells though. The Knitters. Any of you know about this band, but this is excellent. This is essentially members of X, John Doe and Exene Cervenka and DJ Bonebreak, the drummer from X, and also Dave Alvin from the Blasters, Johnny Ray Bartell playing upright bass. But this is a really cool, kind of, it's an homage, and it's both, I think, a bit humorous and poking fun at the genre. I mean, the Knitters itself is obviously a reference to the Weavers, and having fun with that. And the album's called Poor Little Critter on the Road. But it was one of the interesting things about country is that a lot of punk artists also were interested in country and put out country-related records. In Toronto, we had Handsome Ned as well, who kind of was a punk country. They would call it cowpunk sometimes. And this is really good. John Doe and Exene Cervenka, I love the way they sing together. It really suits this genre. And they do a cover of Rock Island Line, which is really good. But some really heartfelt country stuff. John Doe, Someone Like You, which is kind of the story about I miss someone like you, not really willing to commit to I miss you, I miss someone like you, or the idea of you. Anyways, excellent record. The Knitters, if you get a chance, stream it, buy it, listen to it. It's super good. A more recent, and I've shown this before, but a more recent country artist, my friend Kelly, was down in Nashville and caught this guy and recommended him, and I love it. You can see by even the photo of the guy, geez, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but it looks like a dead body in the road. He's from Kentucky. I think he plies his music in Nashville, though. I don't know if you pronounce it Ian No or a different pronunciation of his last name. But this one's called Between the Country. It talks about, modern social ills. So it's not just crying in your beer stuff. This is, about methamphetamine addicts and problems in the city. And it's a really good record. It's one that when I bought this, I just was immediately struck with how great the songwriting was. And I just played it over and over and over again. He's got another record out. Forget the title of it. His second one. Doesn't, for me, hold up quite as strong, but this one is just fantastic. So Ian No. And this would have come out probably, 2019, so not that long ago. Excellent record. And finally, I Was Born a Coal Miner's Daughter. Not me, but Sissy Spacek played Loretta Lynn in this movie. It was really well received at the time, really a great movie, and the story of Loretta Lynn. And it's one of the things that was really kind of cool about this record was that Sissy Spacek actually sang the music, so there wasn't any lip syncing. At the time, that was quite revolutionary. I think now that's becoming more popular, is that actors go the full distance and cover or actually sing the songs. But at this time, this was something that was quite new. But really interesting story of a woman, coal miner's daughter, growing up in, I think it was West Virginia. Can't remember exactly, but hard scrabble life. And so when she sings, some of her songs, Blue Moon of Kentucky, Amazing Grace, cover of Amazing Grace, but Sweet Dreams and I Fall to Pieces. This is hard-earned music, just very authentic, and also a movie worth seeing. I got to go back and rewatch this because I saw it when it first came out and haven't seen it since. So, sorry, a little bit lengthy 365 contest entry. So, Christian, there you go. I am officially entered. See you on the flip side.